Once you connect, it goes.
Yes, I hit it, so it should
Okay,
be going.
you're
Yep,
on.
we are up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Dr. Misak and Annie to
Woohoo!
try to bring something new to you guys. It's crazy how we come here on Saturday mornings and Annie would like to plan. I tell you that, guys, this every week. And then it's like, okay, what are we talking about? So today it's gut poop, is what it came down to. So I think we should have a little bit of fun with that. But I let Annie choose the topic, right, Annie?
Oh yeah. How am I doing? No. I've stopped texting you on Fridays, being like, "What are we going to talk about?" Because it's just better to just figure it out when we get here.
Okay.
It's easier.
It is easier, in all honesty. It's like I was asking, how can you people live by the rules of a planner? And you taking away the moment. As always, today in this Bible app, which I love this thing, 3 John, chapter 1, verse 2. Dear friend, I pray. Oh, stop moving. I pray that you may enjoy good health. My phone is going crazy, and it's moving on me while I'm trying to read this. And again, so 3 John 1-2, it says, stop this. Why is my phone doing this? Help me, Annie, help me. It says, dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. And so where are we, right? With our soul, where are we? How are we handling this world right now and everything is being thrown at us? Because I know a lot of us are going through a lot of crap, and one of us here. So one of the things that is that, in one regard, you can say that's just a big pile of shiitake mushrooms, and we can go from there. So today we were trying to come up with a topic, and poop came to it because Andy's got a fire to me to get this book cover finished. And we were talking about that today. And one of the things that came up was just irritable bowel. How many of us have dealt with that or heard about that, or just go to the pharmacy and look at the very most popular out of those OTC meds? What's the largest section? It's all on gastrointestinal health. And so at least that's the way I remember it. Your antacids, your acid blockers, you name it, things that slow you down, things to speed you up, things to make you more bulky, things to make you more loose. I wish Robin Williams was sitting on this end explaining poop to you. I think you'd have a lot more enjoyable aspects of it. Just watched the movie RV the other night. I've watched that movie so many times with my kids, and just for entertainment to put in the background. And it's, if you guys have not seen that, you got to watch it. But there's this thing out there. So we look at, why do you want to talk about poop? And because it's telling you what your body is doing from here to there with what you're giving it, which is supposed to be your fuel, And so there online, just look up Bristol, Bristol, I think, the Bristol stool chart. And you'll get these stool charts, and it shows you, like, and they compare, what your poop should look like, where a healthy poop should look like a corn on the cob, and severe constipation is dealing with like rabbit droppings, And so what's happening is the question, what is my body doing with what I'm putting inside there, and does it like it, and why is this happening? So from a natural standpoint, I always used to look at, I just got my lens cleaned off. Is it blurry?
You're like glowing a little. So I was wondering.
I'm glowing.
Maybe you're just glowing.
I'm glowing. Okay. So where was I now? So yeah, when you're in naturopathic medicine, you'll always hear people talk about the aspects of treat the gut, heal the gut, because it's your primary link. It's where probably 80% of your immune activity happens. It's where your body is interacting with this external world and trying to transfer what you're putting in there to make energy to survive off of. So what are you putting in there to fuel your engine, to feed your nuclear reactor in your liver, to generate the power that you need in order to accomplish what your body needs to accomplish. Is that, it's, we learn all these concepts of thinking about cells, but how about let's think about what's happening from a quantum standpoint, and trying to make it understandable. Doing my best with that. Let me see, Annie, I did not get the YouTube up today, so I can see who's on. And the YouTube. I just had somebody else come into my office and say last week that my show didn't pop up until after almost 30 minutes into it, that it wasn't available for them. And then about 30 minutes into it, it appeared. So it's probably as if people are trying to look and find us. And then when they figure we're not there, they stop looking, and then they actually pop back up. That's how I kind of took that. So this really, but anyway,
is super helpful. Anything.
I'm sorry.
Our media is really helpful.
All right. Good morning, Leah. Thank you. What a delightful Val Davis. That's a crappy topic. I like that.
That's
good morning, Diane. Red Label. Good morning. Good morning, Jackie, Holly. Traveling for Thanksgiving, but listening. Got to watch out. I hope you're wearing a mask in your car by yourself.
Glad to hear it. Hug your family.
Exactly. On today's topic, I began a blessed herbs cleanse, getting things in order south of the border. Yes. That's the way to go. So I'm glad that we can find fun with this, because this is probably one of the best topics in natural medicine. It gives you a realization of saying, hey, what's coming out is saying if everything's good or not. And so it's just a way to observe, and the numbers will tell you. So that's one of the things is if you get the numbers out and you are trying to understand irritable bowel, you got to say what's happening. And so if I turn around and ask anybody what number tells you whether the bowel is moving too fast or too slow, what's it going to be? It's the pHs, right? So pH is speed, and the sugars are going to represent oxygen availability. And so these pHs are telling you post-digestion, metabolic efficiency, your urine. It's your frequency. It's how fast are things going in your body. Frequency is either, high pitches or low pitches. Oh, you get these low waves, and it's all speed. So these pHs are telling you if your speed is correct, and you will see that when you hover in that A range, 6.3 to 6.6, that your poop looks better. It just does, because things are processing a little bit better. And so when you're looking, if you're looking at somebody who's eating foods that where they shouldn't, what happens? The Brix goes up. So let's say somebody has a 5.3, and then what's the pH to do? Always it drops. So say let's drop down to 5.5, and what's the saliva pH do? Because the digestion trying to handle what's going on in the digestive tract, it slows down because I've got to handle this. So all of a sudden your bile goes to about 6.8. So when you see this pattern, this person does not have oxygen to their brain. Their bowel is saying, I got to move out of here. And their digestion saying, we got to slow this down. And then you go over to those nitrates, and what happens is the top number is going down because they're not digesting something well, right? So that's going to be like a 3. And then the bottom number is going to be like, oh, got to get rid of this. This is toxic waste in here. And it goes up to about a 9. So you got overgrowth of bacteria. You got junk going on. You got high ammonia levels. Nice smell in there, people. And you're eating something that says, dang, can't handle it. Salts go up with this. So you're figuring salt somewhere between probably, around 30-ish, at least a 1 to 6, even if you're drinking well, because this irritation of these ureas will drive that up a little bit. They all work together. And then what's that cell debris going to do? Uh-oh, crap coming. Let's put some stress on the kidneys because we got to get this out. So you can have an irritable bowel pattern and just make it up as you go along. But if the basis is you look at what the numbers are telling you. Hey, I'm eating something when it spikes up that I can't tolerate, or I'm dehydrated too. And so you turn around, does diarrhea cause dehydration? So we'll turn around. I want these numbers, if we start looking at this stuff, I want it all to kind of make sense, because when we're trying to turn around and, historically, you could turn around and say, okay, if you take a Bristol stool chart, it'll tell you, well, am I having enough fiber in my diet? Am I drinking enough water? Sure, I could tell and look down there that does not look normal, probably a little loose. There's probably something going on. How those peppers treat you last night, And so what the idea here is you can see when somebody comes in or you run a set of numbers that the numbers will explain what's going on. And so if you see that pattern, that there's an irritable bowel, and you can just turn it around the other way, so instead of things moving too slow, so you could turn around and say, okay, let's turn around and say, okay, we got a Brix of 7.2. Your pH goes up to, say 7.0, and your bottom one, again, things are going too slow, liver can't handle it, so you put it at 7.1, and then you go out here to your nitrates, and now you have let's say a 3/12 healing range, right? 15 to 19 healing range for the nitrates. Does that look healing? See? Because it's not a matter of just looking at the total numbers. What are these nitrates telling you? Are we breaking down our food with the ability to build healthy proteins? Or are we not breaking down food or breaking down cells in our body and having those ammonia levels go up? And then again, what happens with that cell debris? You start seeing those pluses appear. And you'll start seeing protein in the urine. And things are moving way too slow. And every time you see a 7/7, 100% of the time that I have done testing, because Reem said there'd be worms. So 100% of the time that I used to make people pay $300 for testing. And guess what? Every time there were worms. Every single time I stopped testing. So when you're looking, the numbers are going to tell you, what's this person's poop doing? It's going to be really hard. It's going to be hard to go. They're dehydrated. Oh my God, they might have diabetes greater than 7.1. But when you eat, one of the things, I see tuna drive the Brix really, really high. I see it drive the pHs up, and I see it drive the ammonia up. So when you're doing, that's where, tuna, would you have headaches here? More than likely, yeah, you would. Congestive headache, back of the head. And so there's a story that Reem's told about, tuna. And that's the one that blew me away when I read Choose Life or Death, because it turned around and it was all about, here's this story of this high profile medical guy working in the medical field for the hospitals. And he had headaches all the time, constant headaches. And he was going to lose his job because of it. And he's at the hospital. He said, listen, I'll do anything you want to get rid of these headaches. But it was compromising his work. So somebody sent him to Dr. Reams, and Dr. Reams, in between other people, ran his numbers, went to the kitchen, mixed something up and said, here, go have him sip this over a 30-minute period. When the guy finally got to come into him, it was like 15 minutes later, he had already drank it all down instead of sipping it. And he says, I want to buy a liter of this stuff. What is it? And Dr. Reams was like, you don't need that. He says, yes, I've never had anything in my life take away headaches. I want to buy this. And the guy's like, and Reams is like, you don't need that. Just stop eating tuna and your headaches will go away. That's the story that blew my mind with RBTI. You go look at my Choose Life or Death book. In pencil is scribbled, how did he know tuna with a question mark? I'm looking at that like, okay, how did he know that? And so I have seen people do tuna now, and I have seen where those numbers have a particular pattern. They're going up, but I still haven't figured out that it's, quote, tuna. So Reams was amazing, people. Let me see what you guys are having to say. Marty, hubby driving. Good morning, guys. Kathy, good morning. Everybody as well. Always make sure you're doing thumbs up. It shows that we have these numbers with, with YouTube. Thank you. We have about 50 new subscribers per month. Okay. But we never get more than 38 people on the show. Explain that, people. Why do you want to join, but you don't stay? I mixed something up for Annie. Hey, Annie.
Hey, Doc.
Do you want to turn and show everybody, and you want to guess one of the ingredients?
It's not green, at least. Yeah, a little turmeric or a lot, I hope.
Well, I'm going to say cheers, but I'm going to let Andy say cheers because
Okay.
then you get to see her face.
Cheers. Oh my goodness. Hopefully not bad. Hmm. Never mind. Oh, that was not a good one. I didn't even drink it all. Oh, what was that? That's not like the kava stuff. Oh,
A little too much ginger, I think.
that's what it is. It's a little warm.
Yep.
Thank you.
So Annie's like, while we're working to get ready each week, I'm like, she's in a lot of pain. She could barely walk up today, and so she always likes me to mix these herbs, and they do. I already feel it. It warms you up. It kind of relaxes you. I always put adaptogens in there and stuff. And people, that's the interesting thing is, herbs are, they're like dirty drugs. They can help you to feel however you want to feel. And so with the crap that goes on in this world, sometimes to have something just help you handle your stress is not a bad thing. From a purity standpoint, I would love for every client to come in here, learn their diet, find the basic vitamins and minerals that they need, and then learn meditation and self-awareness and learn practices that they don't need to even take herbs. That's the purest in me. But in reality, if you're stressed, an herbal with a little bit of holy basil and schisandra for the liver and rhodiola for again, adaptogenic aspect, eleuthero. Those are my three favorite to mix in there. And there's American ginseng, ashwagandha, a little bit of licorice helps recirculate your cortisol levels. It's you can really take an herbal just to help you with the crap, but it's not. At the same time, you don't want to turn around and use it like you would alcohol or drugs or something to say, hey, I can't handle the crap, so I'm just going to tune out a little bit. But anyway, so I don't know how I keep going off on these tangents, but so what questions do people have about poop? Is when you're looking at the first I can address Just Lee, that Blessed Herbs kit. So when we're talking about, and that's a good tangential start here. So one of the things is when you slow down colonics, colon hydrotherapy, and we do colon hydrotherapy here, and it's amazing, people. Even you could turn around, and even if you're showing an irritable bowel where things are going too fast, typically you can do colonics while you're restoring and working the chemistry. Because that gentle expansion and contraction of the colon tones it, and you just improve elimination. You start seeing more form normal bowel movements, and historically people would do like 12 colonics. They do 2 the first week, 2 the second week, usually back-to-back days, and then once a week for a series of 12. Because the idea, that was the magic number, found in Germany, found in South America, found in the United States, that wherever people were studying colonics in the 1920s and 30s, like, hey, do 12 of them. And that's where you see all the magic occur with restoration. And so, but they clean the large intestines out. And so what about all that 20 plus feet of small intestines, where all that primary digestion happens, where everything's broken down into a liquid, and then that liquid is eaten by enzymes, or the solid is eaten by enzymes and made into a liquid with a little bit of water to solubilize it. So it gets absorbed into through that small intestines and lower part of the stomach, upper part of the stomach, or actually lower part. And then you turn around and all that non-digestible fiber just trickles down through there, and it's a toxic waste in reality. And there's either healthy bugs or bad bugs. And it's based upon that environment. So as those ammonia levels start going up, you start seeing overgrowth, and so we've talked about pleomorphism and all these different types of microbes that can be in you, but they thrive based upon the environment that you're creating. Royal Rife said, hey, you want to see a healthy person has a healthy pH, a controlled pH. Reams taught an ideal pH with regards to the efficiency of our body, and so pH makes a huge, it's the environment that's going on in there. And so when we're looking at that, that gastrointestinal tract and that upper GI, a lot of irritation occurs. And so it can form mucus and plaque to protect that lining. And so what happens is imagine a hole, and remember those balloons that you could hold and they just keep turning inside themselves and they slide through your hands and just keep falling, right? So imagine that this is the lining going all the way down, and all of a sudden you have plaque that builds up inside there because of years upon years upon years of irritation. And so that plaque becomes hardened. And so where do your nutrients from your food, what does it need to go through in order to get to that lining of your gastrointestinal tract to get absorbed, right? So you turn around and you get chronic plaques in there, and you're going to have malabsorption syndromes. How do you clean that stuff out? Fiber, good, healthy fiber in your diet, hopefully grabs and pulls it out. But if you want to do it really quick, get in tune with Blessed Herbs. Blessed Herbs colon cleansing kits. It's 5 days of fasting. If you do it, I just ask you when you order from them to let them know that you were referred by Pittsburgh Alternative Health, by us, by Dr. Misak. Blessed Herbs, I love doing those colon. I call them goop cleanses. And when you first start doing them, in the first 2 to 3 years of me doing that, you want to talk poop, people. Oh my God. The very first time I did it, clogging the toilet up, and you're talking, what happens is that plaque breaks free, and you can have bowel movements that are like 2 feet long or more in this goopy crud stuff that's coming out of you. And Annie's just got the best faith in the world right now, because this is she's the one who wanted to talk about poop, And so you look at the aspects of poop, and so what's going on in there? The health of that GI tract. So colon cleansing, including upper bowel cleansing, was something like those colon cleansing kits, using binders and clay and fiber, and just making sure that your bowels are moving, and then training that lower bowel with colonics. Great therapy, incredible therapy, change life therapy. But it's not just a cure-all to clean up. You're changing that internal environment. So I encourage people to do colon cleansing kits, like exactly Blessed Herbs, or we have another one that we use that we just alter a little bit, but it's still 5 days of fasting. And spring and fall is when I typically suggest it. I'll find myself usually doing them 3 or 4 times a year. This year's been a little sluggish. I've had a lot going on. I've only done it twice this year. And but that is a way that you clean that bowel, and then you're putting good bacteria back into it, you retraining that bowel. And in the meantime, as you improve those absorptive surfaces within the digestive tract, because there's not being clogged up, you absorb nutrients all the way through that small intestines. Okay, and there's certain nutrients that are absorbed primarily in certain sections. So when people have bowel resections and they have sections removed because of their irritable bowel, usually part of the large intestine, some part of the small as well. And so then all of a sudden there's specific nutrients that would be absorbed there. And so those people can have certain malnutrition issues for the rest of their life unless they figure out how to get these nutrients into them. So just concepts thing. So just think about where all that poop leads to. Down the toilet, right? All right. Annie, you better take over. I'm running in circles at this point.
Do what? I'm taking over. That's not good. I'll never forget whenever you first explained to me what a colonic was. I thought you were kidding. I was like, that's not what you do. That's terrible. But now it's the greatest thing in the whole world, and I'll do one after the show because it's the greatest. It makes you feel amazing. So I believe you in all your poop stories. Unfortunately.
So here's one. It says thin poop with constipation. That's usually somebody who is magnesium deficient. And so you're getting thin poop. It's spasms of the bowel. Okay. So what stops and relaxes spasms? Magnesium. So that person actually needs, they're probably magnesium depleted, probably has high. So if you think about that, constipation, that's the last set of numbers that I showed you. And so when you go out there, those nitrates could easily, right now they're at 15, 3/12. In order to flush those nitrates out of your cells, what do you use? Magnesium. And so that you're having spasms of the colon is when you're seeing thin poop. Usually those people are actually ticklish. Also, magnesium deficiency makes people ticklish. And then they'll also crave chocolate. Chocolate is probably one of the richest sources of magnesium on this planet as far as a food is concerned. But Reams did show that chocolate will irritate the microtubules of the kidneys. So I literally had a lady in here yesterday, and I'm looking at her numbers, and no, it was Thursday. I'm looking at her numbers, and I'm, she's a little bit dehydrated and stuff, but her numbers were, and I'm looking at the number. I said, if I had to guess, I'd say you had chocolate today. And she says, oh my God, how did you know that? Then the cell debris spikes up, so it will cause rapid elimination of dead cells, or whether Ream says that it irritated the microtubules of the kidneys, meaning that, through the kidneys where things go, if you're irritating those, you'll have breakdown. And he suggested vitamin E for that. But anyway, stay away from afterburner. I'm going to run through you like a Dagburn freight train. Yes, ma'am, that certainly will. Yeah, we used to have a song when we were kids, diarrhea. Remember that one? It's not so funny, but it's hot and runny. Come on. Who's got to go back to third grade here? Come on, people. You got to have a question for me. We're only halfway through this. And what causes bowel spasms without bowel movement? Yeah, the bowel is, there's a lot of issues that can cause those spasms, lack of oxygen. What are your sugars running? When you look at watch the bricks, and something's going to cause spasms because that tissue is lacking mineral and lacking oxygen or circulation supply. It's not getting what it needs. What supplies it? The blood. What number's telling you whether the blood's healthy or not? The bricks. Where is the bricks? So if you're really, most people who have this are eating foods they're not supposed to. So that bricks is going to stay 4, 5, 6 all the time. And so there's lack of oxygen, period, And then what also happens is you get agglutination because the other stuff goes up. So your blood can't carry the oxygen. So you feel like crap. You get headaches, top of your head, because lack of oxygen. And those numbers start going up if you're constipated, and it's auto intoxication. You're not eliminating, your body keeps absorbing crap, and and so those spasms are due to mineral deficiencies, okay, and they're due to lack of oxygen. So, and the nerves could be irritated. So if you have a bricks of 4 to 6, what's the conductivity doing? Should be, 20 to 30. If it's normal, most people are probably 35 to 45. And then you turn around and say, okay, with that again, that's going to tighten the tissues. That's going to irritate the tissues. If you keep looking at a set of numbers, you can, if you turn around and if you can't see it by looking at the numbers and say you could have this and this and this, the best way to learn it is that when you look at the set of numbers and you have somebody that can describe their symptoms to you, you turn around and look at the numbers and say, that's why that would happen. That makes sense because the numbers will explain it. That's how I figured it out, people. I would run these numbers on all of my clients, and all I knew at the time is whether they were drinking enough or whether they were getting enough calcium and what minerals were not being available. And so I was learning this in the early days and reading everything that I could, and just helping and didn't charge for the testing, and said, hey, yes, I guess patients become a practice. Let's experiment and figure this out. And because it made sense, I learned it in me. So I'd explain people what I had learned about myself and how eating and made such a difference. And I'll never forget, I cut down I didn't cut down, I was trimming. It was in November, snow was on the ground, full moon was out. And I was trimming my apple tree, and I could trim it. The moon was so bright and clear that I could, and the reflection coming off of the snow of the ground, I could trim it, and it was nighttime. It was early evening because, what's it getting dark at 7:00, and but it was incredible. That was the first day that I realized how good my numbers and how good I felt. I'm like, what is going on with this RBTI stuff? I have got to learn this. It was just like, you can't feel like this and not and the only thing that made me do it is I made the decision not to just take somebody else's word for it and to try it, to experiment and say, look, if this is true, the only way that I'm going to gain the wisdom is, I can read it until I'm blue in the face, but the only way I'm going to really know if this is true or not is try it. And I did. And getting my pHs and getting my bricks under control, people, was difficult. Just flat out. I realized that I was dehydrated. I realized that I was minerally depleted really bad. I realized vitamin D deficiency, and everything started to change. And things that I thought that I was taking care of with GI inflame and all types of nice little supplements that I was taught how to support people because whatever organ system is busted down, let's fix it, right? I never had to fix it. I knew that there was something causing it, but still, this is what was at our disposal for helping to control the inflammation until you figure out what it is. Watch your bricks, look at your pH, and so now I had a guy yesterday, and I've mentioned him on the, before on the show. And I had a guy yesterday, and I basically told him, I'm like, you have figured this out. You do not need me unless something else comes up. You know what you're eating. You're observing what you're eating. You realize what these pills are doing for you from a mineral standpoint. You have lost over 50 pounds. Your back pain and pain for 35 years is now under control. He was even able to stop, and I know you're out there, even able to stop taking CBD oil for his pain, and now when he sees what's wrong with his numbers and we talk about them, we talked about a liver flush, and he's like, yep, I could see that. I know I need to do one. Last time I did it, I passed about 100 stones, and I needed to redo it then. And when I did it last time, my saliva pH dropped down to 6.5 for a period of time, but it slowly went back up. And I'm like, yeah, and you needed to do another one. He's like, yeah, I know. So he knows it. So remember me talking about, do you need a doctor? What was that, last week, Annie?
I think so.
Yeah. When do you need a doctor? I told him, when you need me, something goes on, something that doesn't make sense, the numbers aren't changing, give me a call. But otherwise, I don't need to see him. I just need to know where he is so he could test somebody else.
He says, that's me. Hi. Someone else asked a question. It says, you said something before about smooth muscle in the bladder and veins being weak due to something. I can't remember. I feel like it's conductivity, but that makes me think of stones, kidney stones.
Yeah,
we talked about that too.
Smooth muscle. Yeah, he said something before about smooth muscle in the bladder. The bladder is actually it's a unique kind of muscle, and it's both smooth and muscle because you can kind of control it doing those Kegels. Am I doing them right now? Right. So, but it's conductivity. Shut up, Annie. She's making me laugh. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Smooth muscle. Annie, help me.
Smooth muscle in the bladder and veins being weak due to something.
Yeah, it's your conductivity. When the conductivity goes up. So you could, so say you're older, and you have somebody come in here and the pH 6.4 is kind of the neutral point at the belly button. You have a pH running about 6.2. Okay. It's like, it's not too bad, right? Okay. But you turn around and, but their bricks is running maybe 3.5 and their conductivity about 18. Okay. So what's that tell you? Well, got a loss of lower energy, high conductivity. It's going to be irritating the nerves. So you're looking for somebody to either having bowel spasms, bowel irritation, or something going on in their bladder or uterus. So something's going on down here, And so as you look at the other numbers, is it on the left side? Is it the right side? Is it right in the middle? Are those nitrates 7/7 pointing right in the middle? You've got a bladder issue. So you can turn around and the numbers point. That's the goal. So the goal is to understand, what is it telling you? What are they pointing to? The numbers don't lie. You just have to understand how to apply those numbers to thinking about bricks representing the blood and oxygenation, the urine pH representing the overall efficiency of the body and how well it's accepting minerals, the saliva pH, giving you an idea of the strength of the bile and the digestive system and that liver making the enzymes, the conductivity, representing the aspect of the thickness of those body fluids and the irritation that's occurring in them, the cell debris telling you whether the kidneys are handling the stress, and then the nitrates telling you whether you're breaking down foods to build healthy proteins or whether you're not breaking down foods and getting overgrowth in the digestive tract and stuff like that. And so that top number is like, hey, if I'm not breaking down foods, my liver and pancreas are off, and that pancreas is going to be confirmed with that Brix being off because it's telling you sugar regulation. Does it make sense? It's pointing, and you just have to think of the generalized context of what these do. And then you're saying, okay, now I'm starting to get that this is telling me where in the body, and yeah, I'm having symptoms right there where it's pointing. So what the hell do I do? Control your Brix. Eat your foods based upon your urine pH. Start there. Okay? Because that you're going to learn, am I drinking enough water? Am I drinking or eating foods I'm not supposed to? Are my sugars crashing on me? And I need to learn to eat or drinking something to stabilize that. Am I eating foods based upon where my pH is? Because the pH is going to dive if you're eating the wrong foods, and the pH will slow down if you're eating some of the wrong foods too. You have to learn which foods are most appropriate. You are learning a diet specific for you. That's what it comes down to. And nobody can sit there and have control of your health better than you. And then we learn, okay, I'm consistently low on my pHs, so I need specific forms of calcium, and I need more vitamin D. So if or opposite, you start learning the supplements comes in next, but start with the diet. It's bottom line what you got to do. You said something. Okay, that's it. Bowel spasms, the same as urge to purge or something else. No, the urge to purge is you have these, and I tell people whenever they come in for colonics, have you ever been in a room and you're having a good conversation, having a fun time, and okay, I got to go, and so what it is you have these mass movement sensors that are on the top of your rectum. And when things move down to a certain point, they stimulate these nerves, and you're like, oh, God, excuse me, please, because Annie, stop it. She's finding a little bit of humor in me today, but that urge to purge comes from this mass movement saying, oh, I got to go. And so I'm telling people, like when they're doing colonics, as you're filling up with water, and you will feel that movement when you get enough water to fill in there, like you got to go, and that's part of what helps you to realize when you need to release when you're doing a colon hydrotherapy. But that's a little bit different. Spasms, that doesn't necessarily mean spasms. That could be just a healthy response of saying, yep, it's time. I've got to go. I'll be back later. So give me a question, or I'm going to let Annie talk for a while because I need a drink.
Oh, mercy. Nobody wants me to talk. Talk about kidney stones, since you're talking about poo.
Well, kidney stones are kind of complex because there's a lot of factors that play a role. Most of them are calcium oxalate stones. So you have, so then you can turn around and say, hey, let's get rid of oxalates in the diet. And then I start thinking, oh, which people typically don't process oxalates very well, right? Doesn't that sound logical to you? Hey, if oxalates are a problem, calcium binding oxalates, it forms stones. They can form anywhere in the body. Autistic kids that don't want to pee because it hurts every time they pee can be forming calcium oxalate stones in their urinary tract passages, and it just hurts, and they don't know what to do other than scream and not pee at all. Sounds pretty crappy, right? So why do they form? Is because there's something going that's messed up the metabolism of how the body processes those oxalates. And so then I go back and say, what usually is in occurrence with that? It goes with bacterial overgrowth and or mold. Mold people, yeast and mold people have oxalate issues, and those oxalates can form stones all through the body and stuff like that. So that's got to be in the back of my mind. Why is this forming? Do you have mold issues? Does that make sense? It's just train of thought. It's so, and then so many people can have low grade mold exposure and their body's up. I'm tired. I'm aging. I'm always tired. I just don't feel like doing a lot. If I got to push through, I can. And that's what a lot of people just live in, that mindset that's how they're supposed to feel. Not, let's go, I'm ready to do something. What do you want to do right now? I got to do something because I got to keep my mind busy. How fast can I talk to get things done? Because I don't know, because I keep thinking things. It just runs.
How about liver stones?
Liver stones, same thing. Liver stones is just congestion. It slows down. And that's where you'll see, and particularly people who don't have gallbladders anymore. So again, stones are stones, and they form wherever and they show up on x-rays, right? So if something shows up on an x-ray, what you're doing is getting a picture of everything that's black to white and different shades of gray in between. And those different shades of gray are giving you a comparison of the density of that tissue. And the density of that tissue allows them to see certain structures. And when something white pops out where it's not supposed to, it means there's something dense there, i.e. you got a stone in there. Okay. And so that means that stone has calcium in it. Where there's more density in your tissue, anywhere in your body, there's more calcium in that tissue. So when you have stones, you have calcium misutilization. You have a body that is depositing calciums because it can't use that form of calcium, and it's depositing it in tissues because it doesn't want to waste the calcium, because the body needs the calcium overall. So it stores it, clogs up things, whatever else. And so that's why people take vitamin K2 to help mobilize that calcium, clean out your arteries. Dr. Badeau was really big on K2 in his the conversations that I had with him in the last of his year of life. I have people who come in for taking K2. By all means, continue. And I've talked about it where Reams discussed the aspects of apple cider vinegar doing the same thing, of mobilizing. I can't make that claim. I just know that Betty Reams says that's what her dad suggested. And so when I try to think of all the benefits you see with apple cider vinegar, they do look like increased calcium utilization benefits. When you start looking at it, helping to alkalize, helping to improve digestion, strengthen the bile, all those type of things. And I've even seen stuff about, these new hydrogen waters strengthening the bile. Wow. The bile is consistent with we take betaine hydrochloride, but it's hydrochloric acid, HCl. So if you add more H to the system, hydrogen, can you strengthen the bile salts? And I've seen articles that suggest that, yeah, you can. So these new hydrogen waters are very popular, and they help people. They do for a period. Just watch your numbers. I don't care if you're going to try it. I have seen people benefit from it. Watch your numbers. See if it mobilizes the salt. See what it does in you. This is a system of measurement. This is not to do this for that. We got to get out of that mentality. Unless you're shooting down a shot of herbs like Annie and I did a little bit earlier, and you just want to chill out a little bit and
just want to feel better. Thank you.
Feel a little bit better.
You got a couple of questions in there.
Yeah. So Chuck found that he can eat. You like that? Turmeric until the end of the day, that he will eat turmeric until the day he dies. Yeah, I mean, turmeric is incredibly anti-inflammatory. Turmeric, actually, there's a phase, a metaphase. When you learn replication and DNA, you have the M phase, the metaphase, and I can't remember the cycle of how our body replicates and whatever else. And so many of the mechanisms that they've used with chemotherapy agents is that they go in to stop on this cell cycle phase, the cell cycle. To stop on a particular part in this cell cycle phase. So rapid turnover cells can't complete that cell and they die. And so turmeric has a specific for inhibiting of cancerous cells, particularly breast cancer cells, from turning over. And lymphomas and the same thing of having that production. So turmeric has been shown to have anti-cancer benefits, general anti-inflammatory benefits. It's an incredible herb. It really, really is. Stains everything. I have people, the cheapest way to afford turmeric is people who are shoving it in capsules. Number one, they're standardizing it to these curcuminoids. But those curcuminoids are not the primary active ingredient. So, hey, I'm buying a standardized product. Yeah, they could put crap in there, add some curcuminoids to it that have been extracted to bring it up so that pill has the standard amount in it, and then you could be taking crap. It's kind of a weird thought, right? Standardization, you would think, is being standardized to the active ingredient, not in this case. So therefore, what do? Go buy the best organic turmeric you can find. Go get some size 00 capsules and have a capsule making party, and make sure you wear nitrile gloves, and just get those double aught capsules. You do a pile of turmeric and you punch the empty hole into there until where that capsule fills up, put the lid on it, throw it in a bowl, and sit there and watch a good movie and make yourself a bunch of turmeric capsules. Each one of those will hold between 500 and 600 milligrams. And so it's by far the cheapest way to do it. You can get a pound of good organic turmeric for about probably about $16 on Amazon. And then you can get a bag of size 00 capsules for like another $15. So for $30, you'll be able to make well over 100 capsules, probably. Oh my God. How many capsules do you think you could make with a pound, Lanny?
A lot. I don't know.
Yeah, probably probably at least 1,000 capsules. And instead of going and paying me $30 for a bottle of turmeric that you're going to use, if you take up to 6 a day, that you would use in a 10-day supply for $30. So that's one of the problems with naturopathic medicine is we don't make a lot of money because you try to help you guys to understand, hey, you can do this. There's a way to do this. So liver stones, yes, same reason. You're forming stones because of sluggishness. Things are slowing down. The bile's getting too weak. Whenever that saliva pH gets above 6.8, you need to do a liver gallbladder flush. Even if you've had your gallbladder removed, those stones will come out. The magnesium in the flush will relax the when you're doing the Epsom salts, tastes like elephant piss. Yuck. I'm telling you. But overall, it works. So the smooth muscle gets relaxed from all the magnesium. And people don't just go do a liver gallbladder flush if you're not watching all your numbers. Some of you will do it and you'll get sick as a dog. We try to show you when to do it. The saliva pH comes up and you'll see a change in the nitrates and explain, but you have to keep your other numbers most stable before you do these therapies or you'll get sick. You will get sick. Now, will you live through it? Probably. That's where all these things, it's detox. You're good. You don't have to feel like total crap through detox if you watch your numbers and know when to do it. You won't end up in the hospital because you can see that you can handle it. You can monitor your bricks and know that you're drinking enough water through it. It's a system of measurement. It's telling you how you're doing. Friend has varicose veins, hemorrhoids, and constipation. That could be it's not specifically, no. I mean, that doesn't mean she's magnesium deficient. It means that she has chronically high conductivity in salts, and she's not processing or eliminating her waste the way that she needs to. It's recirculating. Her collagen is breaking down, so the elasticity is going. There could be a copper deficiency. No, it does not mean magnesium deficiency. So you got to go by the numbers. We could turn around and say, I'm just going to take magic mineral number 2, and take everything. But then you're putting in minerals that become a burden to the body and become waste, like sea salt. Do the same thing. Drives up your conductivity and your body is like static electricity in there. So what I do is I watch those pHs and look at the minerals that are typically needed. If your pHs are out, and it's suggestive of liver stuff, I always find benefit with selenium and zinc, always. So I give most people are on 200 micrograms of selenomethionine and 30 milligrams of zinc citrate, and then we'll do hair analysis and hair analysis will confirm it. You'll see that people have chronically low selenium and zinc levels. People who have sugar regulation issues have chronically low vanadium and chromium levels. And so we'll give a little bit of chromium, ultrachrome or chromium GTF and glucose tolerance factor is what it's called, and 200 micrograms a day for a long time, 6 to 12 months, and let's recheck it next year, once a year. Let's see how those minerals are, if they're coming up, because you've been depleting them for years. I'm telling you, people, it took 4 years for me to have a normal hair analysis. 4 years for those numbers to level out and be where they're supposed to be. And I was in my 40s when I started. So if you're looking at the aspects of the X factor by RBTI, you reach 40, you're expecting it to be at least 2 years, at perfect chemistry. Well, hell, I didn't keep perfect chemistry over those 4 years. I cycle. And I'll tell you when I cycle, and you'll hear me about doing colonics, and you'll hear me. I try to get in my sauna. I try to get in 3 times a week, and I did a GPL tox test, and I actually was like, hey, my levels of environmental toxicities are low, except for styrenes. Oh my God, there went my Thai food. I actually went up there and said, listen, please don't ever put it in the styrenes. My plastic levels were fine of what I was peeing out. And so they know when I call that they never put it in the styrofoam anymore. They always put it in the plastic. And so the things that, people, somebody mentioned an oat test. Andy, you got to keep me up on these questions because I'm just going to ramble and they're not going to get answered. Let's see. Do I work with people remotely to restore their health? Yes. Ideally is you find somebody to test, or you test yourself, and then you just call, you email in your numbers, and you call, and we do a phone consult, and we guide you. And if you're able to test your own numbers, I'm going to tell you, check your Brix and your pH always until you learn your patterns and you learn what foods are appropriate. And then we'll have you run a full set of numbers initially, about 2 weeks later, and then we'll go to once a month usually. And then we'll just check and see, and you're learning the process. And DG, how long did it take you? Tell everybody, that guy figured it out. He doesn't need me anymore. If you need a tester, ask DG where he lives. But that's the whole idea, is you learn for yourself and you don't need me, unless.
Mary Lou says, remember when I couldn't poop? Maybe mention the trampoline therapy.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah. So what are some other, back to poop? I like it. Keep me on Mary Lou. Thank you. Let's keep focused. So when you poop, you have a little muscle that goes around your rectum, and that's why you on Shark Tank they had that little thing where you bring your knees up and you have that little thing that goes around your toilet.
The squatty potty.
Well, they call it the squatty potty. We carry one that's in association with the naturopathic. It's called a Step Up. And it was already out before Squatty Potty was out there. But there's $25, people. And what it does is you're just changing the angle. Tell me this, did the people in the Bible have a royal throne to sit on while they were pooping? Well, what did they do? They squatted, right? And so if they squatted, you're changing the position, from a squatting position to more like an upright when you're on the toilet. And what that does is it changes a muscle that actually goes around your rectum. And so that muscle prevents people from being able to eliminate well. So if you raise your feet up, you're reducing the stress load on the bowel itself to allow it to bring things out. So that's important, in itself. But the other is mini trampolines. Oh my God. Now we can go to a whole new hour and let's talk about the benefits of motion. So when you're bouncing on a trampoline, you decelerate and you accelerate off of it. You stop and start. And that, transfers about 3.5 G's of force to every cell of your body. So every cell in your body is going to do what? It's going to adapt to the environment, called homeostasis. So that environment, that stress says, hey, I got to pick up my metabolic activity to handle this stress load. So it on every cell of your body is increasing metabolic activity. And then that motion stimulates blood flow, circulation, and movement. And apparently Mary Lou stimulated certain movements in her. And maybe
So bowel transit time. When I go to some restaurants, what causes a sudden urge to go and go violently within minutes of eating their food? Is it correlated to what I just ate or from an earlier meal?
It's your bowel saying, "Hey, we just got a load of toxic gunk that we can't handle, and we better get rid of what's below so we can take this on." You're eating foods that your body doesn't like. It's irritating the bowel, causing a rapid drop in pH, and you spiking everything. And so your body says, "Okay, that pH, let's speed things up." And so it'll have you evacuate because your body knows that now I've got a whole new load to deal with.
You have a salt question in there from Marcia T. Can there be detox symptoms from starting to take cell salt, starting out slowly, 4x 2 times a day?
Yeah. Cell salts will stimulate and support those processes in a very, if you go back, like I said, in the Constitution in 1931 in Congress, Congress wrote in that naturopaths, you're not practicing natural medicine if you are doing these things, if you're educated in the aspects of diet, minerals, and they even mentioned tissue and cell salts are in there. They were using those back in the 1920s to functionally support, give the body trace amounts of what it needs. And the body knows that, hey, I need to deal with this and stimulate processes. So cell salts can definitely be used for detox, particularly when you're using nat phos for different types of acid-base imbalances. Nat sulf and silica promote the cells to dump stuff out of the cells and to detoxify. So by all means, yes, they can stimulate you to detox. So she eats salt on top of salt. Well, yeah, that's why she has the problems that she has. Then the question comes, if you actually take the information that I gave you, and now I've got knowledge, okay? But if you don't apply the knowledge, there's no wisdom in it. She can sit there and say, yeah, that makes sense, but I like my salt too much, so I will deal with my constipation, my hemorrhoids, and everything else that's going along with it, my varicose veins. Okay, I think that we're good. I think we've done a pretty decent show in between a little bit of silliness, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. Again, I ask all of you, that thumbs up. If it does anything, which it should, but it doesn't seem to for us, just let people know. If you're able to share this link afterwards with friends, family, and put this out there, people, thank you. Even if you ask them to go there, open it and close it, just open this and close it and see if it works, because that type of information helps in the long run, because there are class action lawsuits out there right now in regards to censorship. And the only way that you can build a case is actually having reported data that shows that it's actually happening out there to people. So every time you guys have people notify us, that we appreciate that, of those type of things occurring. Well, we don't appreciate them occurring, but the knowledge that it is occurring, it's just a little bit comforting to know that why would little old me upset them big guys? There's no reason. I'm just trying to help a fellow human to stay healthy. So anyway, thank you. I hope you guys have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. I can only say take care and God bless you all.